اللافت للنظر مشان هذول القربات قربات بشار، تخيلوا إنه سفارتنا في أنقرة تم إغلاقها مو بسبب مواقف سياسية أو هذه القطيعة أو كذا، لا، سبب مختلف نسمعه من وزير الخارجية المحترم أسعد الشيباني.
في أنقرة لا يوجد، كانت السفارة السورية في أنقرة يعني إيجار، يعني كانت مستأجرة، والنظام السابق لم يدفع الإيجار، فبالتالي ذهب العقار. اليوم هناك عدة خيارات نناقشها مع الحكومة التركية، وتقريبا وصلنا إلى خيارين قريبين لفتحهم كسفارة سورية في تركيا. وبالتأكيد
سعادة الوزير هدول ما يعرفوا يدفعوا، هدول ياخذوا بس، يعني هيك تعودوا ينهبوا، وحتى إيجار سفارة ما يدفعوا. هذا سبب الإغلاق، لأنه راح العقار. تخيلوا دولة يطير مقرها أو سفارتها لأنه ما دفعوا الإيجار. لا، شاطر يشتري لوحة سبلاش، والله لو أفرجيكم اللوحة ما تشتريها ب10 ليرات، اشتراها ب32 مليون دولار. ومتى؟ عام 2018 أو 2019، يعني بعز الحرب يروح ابن الحرام الأهبل يشتري، طبعا عن طريق وسطاء، ولكن الجارديان فضحته، مثل ما اليوم الجارديان منزله فيديو عن هؤلاء الأثرياء اللي بالأيام البوسنة والهرسك كانوا الأثرياء يدفعوا 90,000 دولار مشان يروح على مكان المعركة مشان يقنص المدنيين، يعني شايفينهم حيوانات، ويدفع من هؤلاء الموتورين اللي يكرهوا الإسلام. يلا نروح على منطقة القنص، ومسموح له قنص المدنيين، ويدفع أكثر إذا كان يعني يريد يقنص أطفال. هذا اليوم انتشر بفيلم وثائقي من الجارديان.
A jaw-dropping claim that rich foreigners paid to shoot humans in Sarajevo in the 1990s, when the city was in the middle of a violent and chaotic military blockade, has sparked an investigation by Italian prosecutors. The stunning allegations come from an Italian writer who alleged he had uncovered evidence that wealthy gun enthusiasts, dubbed sniper tourists, would pay Bosnian Serb forces for the chance to gun down residents at random during the 4-year siege of the city, The Guardian reported. Rich foreigners allegedly paid upwards of $90,000 to shoot people during human safari trips to Sarajevo in the 1990s, with an extra fee to kill children. There were Germans, French, English, people from all Western countries who paid large sums of money to be taken there to shoot civilians, said Ezio Gavazzani, the investigative writer. There were no political or religious motivations. They were rich people who went there for fun and personal satisfaction. We are talking about people who love guns, who perhaps go to shooting ranges or on safari in Africa, he said. Gavazzani claims he first read reports of the alleged tourist-led shootings in Italian media outlets in the 90s, but started digging deeper after watching a 2022 documentary about a former Serb soldier who claimed foreigners would shoot at residents from the hills in Sarajevo. He claims a key source was a former Bosnian intelligence officer. His shocking allegations have now led to a newly launched probe being led by prosecutors in Milan. The investigation is seeking to identify any Italians involved in the so-called sniper tourism. Gavazzani said he had already uncovered the identities of some of the Italians allegedly involved in the massacre, and they are expected to be questioned by prosecutors in the coming weeks.
مشان تشوفوا العالم القبيح القذر، عالم الحشيش والكبتاجون، وعالم الشياطين المحسوبين على البشر.
Tourists, mainly from rich Western states, paid the Bosnian Serb forces to shoot Bosniaks in Sarajevo when the city was under siege in the 90s. This is what a new documentary, Sarajevo Safari, by Slovenian director Milan Zupanik reveals.
Ja sam iz njegovog iskaza shvatio da se tu radi o jednom safariju na ljude i da su ljudi koji Dakle, dolaze s tim motivom jedna nova morbidna vrsta snajperista koji plaćaju da ubijaju.
Jaz nisem nikoli slišal cen, koliko je bila cena, samo vem, da je bilo grozno drago.
The Bosnian War occurred in the aftermath of the breakup of Yugoslavia and started after Bosnia and Herzegovina passed a referendum to gain independence in 1992. Its capital, Sarajevo, was attacked by Bosnian Serb forces, who rejected the referendum and were trying to secure their own autonomous entity. The war was the most violent conflict Europe witnessed since World War II and was characterized by indiscriminate shelling of cities and numerous accounts of ethnic cleansing. Civilians in Sarajevo were frequently shot at and killed by snipers from the Serb forces during the 4-year siege. Now, 2 decades later, brutal stories of the war continue to shock. Sarajevo Safari, the story by Slovenian director Milan Zupanic, shows that the routine shooting of civilians was not limited to the snipers of the Serb forces, but that rich Western tourists came along and participated in human safaris. In exchange for money, these tourists were safely escorted into Sarajevo, so that they could take up sniper positions over besieged Sarajevo and then shoot and kill Bosniaks. In other words, they paid the Serb forces so that they could have an opportunity to hunt civilians for their own entertainment, bringing to life the term manhunting, usually only occurring in dystopian films. The film is based on the testimonies of the following sources: a Slovenian who worked for an important American agency during the war, and a retired officer of the intelligence service of the Army of Bosnia and Herzegovina, as well as 3 surviving victims. The film indicates that most of those manhunters came from Canada, the US, Russia, and Italy. This phenomenon of manhunting is also documented in the book Veteran and the Firefighters, in which a former US Marine who led a group of international volunteer firefighters on both sides of the front in Sarajevo during the war describes how these tourists arrived in Sarajevo wearing a combination of civilian and military clothes and looked as if they went to the Black Forest to hunt bears. The same Marine also testified about civilians coming under sniper fire during the trial of former Bosnian Serb commander and war criminal Ratko Mladic. There is also footage of Russian neo-Nazi Eduard Limonov touring the hilltops of Sarajevo, firing several rounds into the besieged capital where civilians were trapped. In the video, he is being escorted by Radovan Karadzic, who has also been sentenced to life in prison for genocide and war crimes. While further criminal investigation still needs to be undertaken to get an understanding of the scope and scale of manhunting, the film's director has emphasized a few important questions.
Ključno pitanje je kakve osobe to rade, šta je njihov psihološki profil, šta je njihov socijalni profil. Ja mislim da bi tom fenomenu ljudi koji gledaju na druge ljude kao na svoju divljač baš bilo potrebno dati nešto više pažnje, pitati se kakav je njihov moral, šta smo mi obični ljudi u njihovim očima